One single beat drop at the biggest music festival on Earth, and suddenly, the pop princess everyone loves is facing accusations of religious disrespect. Sabrina Carpenter took the Coachella stage expecting to launch her next era of stardom. She walked away with a PR nightmare that has the entire internet divided down the middle. We're talking about a backing track, just a few seconds of audio. But to millions of people, those few seconds sounded like a holy Islamic prayer chopped up and turned into a club beat. Stick with me, because before this video is over, you're going to understand exactly why this wasn't just a mistake. It was a pattern, and it gets worse. But here's the question nobody is asking. If her team already survived one religious scandal, why did they walk right into another one? We're going to answer that. But first, let's talk about who Sabrina Carpenter actually is. Because this story only makes sense when you understand the transformation she's been chasing. Before we get into the desert heat of Coachella, we need to talk about the woman standing at the center of the storm, Sabrina Carpenter. She didn't appear out of nowhere. We watched her grow up on Disney Channel, playing the good girl, the innocent neighbor. But over the last few years, she has been on a calculated mission to shed that skin. She's traded the squeaky clean image for something edgier, something provocative. Think espresso, think please, please, please. She's the current darling of the pop world, dating Hollywood heartthrobs, selling out arenas, and seemingly on top of the world. But here's what the headlines don't tell you. There's a darker side to this reinvention. Remember the music video for Feather? It dropped and immediately ignited outrage. Why? Because she filmed a full dance sequence inside a Catholic church. She was twirling in the pews, dancing near the altar. The church claimed they were deceived about the content. Catholics felt disrespected. It was a massive scandal, one that forced her team to issue a public apology. You'd think after that kind of blowback, any PR team in the world would be hyper-aware of religious sensitivity. But here's the question. Did they learn nothing, or did they simply think they could get away with it again? Because fast forward just a few months, and we are right back in the same fire, but with a completely different faith. April 2024, the Indio Valley, Coachella, the crown jewel of music festivals on the planet. Sabrina Carpenter is booked for weekend 2. She is riding a massive wave of hype. This was supposed to be her coronation moment, the performance that solidified her as a true A-list icon. She hits the stage. The crowd is deafening. She runs through her hits. And then the DJ cues up a remix of Feather. And then it happens. A vocal sample begins to play over the beat. To the casual listener, it might have just sounded like melodic chanting, maybe exotic flair, something to add atmosphere to the set. But to the Muslim community, and to anyone who knows the sound of the Adhan, the Islamic call to prayer, it was unmistakable. A sacred Islamic prayer. Chopped up, auto-tuned, playing as a backdrop while a pop star dances in a prop bathtub on stage. Now, before you say it's just music, let me explain exactly why this cuts so deep. Because once you understand what was actually being sampled, you won't be able to unhear it. In Islam, the Adhan and the Quran are considered the literal word of God. They are holy. They are protected. They are not art. They are not a beat drop. They are certainly not something to be mixed with secular music and danced to on a festival stage. The internet didn't wait. Within minutes of the set ending, the clips were already circulating on X, formerly Twitter. And the reaction? It was nuclear. Is that the Shahada? Is that the Adhan? I cannot believe she did this. People were analyzing the audio, slowing it down, isolating the vocals. And the general consensus among those who recognized it? It sounded exactly like a sampled Islamic chant. Now, here's where the story gets messy. Because as the backlash grew, a counter-narrative started to form. Defenders of Sabrina, and there were many, rushed to her side. They claimed it wasn't an Islamic chant at all. It's just a vocal chop. It's melodic gibberish. You're all reaching. And look, in the world of electronic music and pop production, vocal chops are genuinely common. Producers take a voice, stretch it, pitch it, reverse it, until it becomes an instrument. But here's the real question. Does intent erase impact? Even if it wasn't a direct sample of a real imam reciting the call to prayer, if it sounds like the holy word of God to millions of people, haven't you already crossed the line? The issue isn't just the technical details of the audio file. The issue is the vibe, the aestheticization of a culture and a faith that is already heavily scrutinized and misunderstood in the Western world. Think about the visual. Sabrina is on stage in a prop bathtub, a provocative, sexualized visual. And over that, you play a sound that mimics a prayer of purity. The juxtaposition is jarring, it's offensive, and to many people, it feels like a direct mockery. And here's the part of the story that should make everyone uncomfortable. This wasn't some underground indie artist. This was a fully produced Coachella-level performance. That means a team of professionals signed off on every single second of it. So where were they? Whose fault is this really? Is it Sabrina's? She's up there performing. She didn't mix the track herself, but her team approved the set list. She heard the sound check. Every run-through before that stage was lit up for 100,000 people. You have to ask yourself, did nobody in that entire room raise their hand and say, hey, this sounds like a religious prayer. Maybe we shouldn't play this to 100,000 people. Or is it possible that inside the echo chamber of pop music production, cultural sensitivity just isn't a priority? This is the part of the story that should make you angry, the sheer preventability of it. We live in an age where information is instant. Cultural consultants are a phone call away. Yet time and again, massive artists step directly on these landmines, and Sabrina is fresh off the church controversy. That is the context that makes this Coachella moment so damning. It suggests not just a single lapse in judgment, but a failure to learn. When you disrespect one religious community, apologize, and then seemingly disrespect another one just months later, people stop calling it a mistake. They start calling it a pattern. So how did the world actually respond when this went viral? On TikTok, the reaction was brutal. Influencers with millions of followers, many from the Middle East and South Asia, began stitching the clip. They weren't just annoyed, they were hurt. One creator summed it up in a way that stopped people mid-scroll. Imagine dancing while your own holy book is being remixed into a techno beat. It feels dehumanizing. That word, dehumanizing, hit hard, because that's exactly what this kind of appropriation does. It strips the sanctity from something sacred and turns it into entertainment for the masses. Then came the boycott calls. Fans began declaring they were done with her. I loved espresso, but I cannot support someone who mocks my religion. Of course, the internet never moves in one direction. The stans, Sabrina's hardcore fan base, went into full defense mode. They accused critics of being oversensitive. She's the sweetest girl. She would never do this intentionally. But here is the irony of stan culture. You can call an artist sweet all you want, but you don't actually know them. You know the brand, and the brand was in serious trouble. But what really turned this from controversy into full crisis? The silence. In the immediate aftermath, no statement, no clarification, no "we used a vocal synth, not a prayer," just radio silence. And that silence is loud. It allows the rumors to fester. It allows people to fill in the blanks. And when there's a vacuum of information, the public always assumes the worst, that the sample was used for shock value, for the aesthetic, and that the team is now just hoping it quietly blows over. We saw this exact same arc with the Feather video. Silence first, apology later. By the time the apology came, the damage was done. It begs the question, is the strategy simply to let the news cycle burn itself out? Because in 2024, the cycle moves fast. What's trending today is forgotten tomorrow. But for the people who were disrespected, that feeling doesn't get a news cycle. It stays. The media coverage itself was split. Some outlets framed it as a cultural misunderstanding. Others, particularly those covering Middle Eastern entertainment, called it tone-deaf and disrespectful, with no ambiguity. But the story isn't just about Sabrina. It's about the entire team behind her. Producers, mixers, creative directors, a room full of paid professionals, and not one of them caught this. That is a failure of an entire industry's infrastructure. Let's take a step back, because this isn't just about Sabrina Carpenter. This is about how Western pop culture treats the rest of the world as a costume shop. You see it with bindis worn at music festivals. You see it with Native American headdresses as fashion accessories. And now we're seeing it with religious audio being sampled as a vibe for a stage set. The uncomfortable truth? Aestheticization is the new form of colonization. It's taking the sacred, the meaningful, the beautiful parts of a culture, usually a marginalized one, and stripping them of their meaning so the dominant culture can look cool or edgy. Sabrina's team likely thought the chant sounded mystical. They probably thought it added an Arabian Nights atmosphere to the set. But that thinking is rooted in stereotype. It reduces a rich, complex, living faith to a sonic texture for a pop star's performance. We also need to address the double standard directly. Imagine if a producer sampled a gospel choir singing about Jesus Christ, chopped and slowed over a song about casual sex. The backlash in the Western media would be immediate. Think pieces on Billboard, Christian organizations protesting outside venues, network coverage. But when it's Islam, the response is often, "It's just a vibe, don't be so sensitive." That double standard is exactly what so many fans are furious about. This controversy exposes a disconnect that runs deep between an entertainment industry that wants streaming numbers from the Middle East and South Asia and an industry that refuses to do the actual homework required to respect those same cultures. It's lazy, it's entitled, and honestly, it's creatively boring. Real art comes from understanding, not appropriation. So what does Sabrina actually do now? Because she's standing at a crossroads, and both paths have consequences. The Coachella stage has been dismantled. The desert winds have blown away the dust. But the digital footprint? That doesn't blow away. If she addresses it, she risks reigniting a news cycle that might have faded. If she ignores it, she risks permanently alienating a massive portion of her global fan base who felt genuinely disrespected. The smart move? A genuine apology. Not a press release written by a legal team, not carefully worded corporate language designed to protect the brand. A real human acknowledgement that the creative decision was made without thought for the real-world impact it would have on real people's faith. But will we get it? Only time will tell. This story is a reminder that in the age of social media, the audience is listening closer than ever before. You cannot hide behind the production. You cannot hide behind the beat. You cannot hide behind the silence. We are watching. We are paying attention, and we are holding you accountable. Now I want to hear from you. Was this an honest creative mistake or a disrespectful oversight by a team that should have known better? Does her silence make it worse, or does speaking up risk making it bigger? The debate is going right now in the comments. Drop your take below. And if you want the real stories behind the headlines, the ones other channels won't touch, hit subscribe. We're just getting started. I'll see you in the next one.